on my way to work this morning, and I've got a code, looks like this. You guys are lucky. This Honda Element that I bought is such a pile of crap, there's no end to the amount of content we're going to be able to create out of this thing. So this code I've got is a po301. The 30 designation means that it's a misfire. 1 means that it's cylinder 1. Another way you can tell you've got a misfire is your car's jerking like crazy, and your check engine light, instead of coming on and staying on, starts blinking. Anytime your check engine light is blinking, that's a misfire. So it's a good thing that the misfire that I have is on 301, and just on 301, and it's not bouncing all over the place. It's not telling me 301, 303, 304, 302. If it were telling me all of that, that would be a timing issue, but it's not. It's a very solid 301. So what I'm going to do is take the coil pack out of the number 1 cylinder and put it in the number 2 cylinder. This is going to help me start narrowing down what the problem is. It could be just a coil pack. If it is, then it'll move from cylinder 1 to cylinder 2. It could be a spark plug. If it's a spark plug, it won't move. If it's not one of those 2 issues, it could then be a fuel injector going out, getting clogged or failing. And if it's not that, then you have to move on into, it could perhaps be a valve train issue. A valve that isn't seating properly, or a valve that's improperly adjusted, giving you a misfire. I hope to God it's not either of those things. Our code now shows a 302 code. That means that our misfire moved from cylinder 1 to cylinder 2 when I moved the coil pack. There goes our blinky light again. So that tells me that the coil pack itself is failing. We've isolated the issue to the coil pack. That's good news. Pop the hood by putting your fingers behind this tab and pulling straight out. So my new coil pack got here late last night. So here I am at 3 in the morning installing it. I ordered this from AutoZone. It's a Duralast, and it goes right here. Remember, I said that I've swapped 1 and 2, and the error went from 1 to 2. So that tells us that the error is following this coil pack, which I think is original. A lot of original parts on this car. All right. Pull that up a little bit, plug it in. All right, make sure it's snapped in there real good. Plug it back in. Put the cap back on. The screws that hold this coil pack and this coil pack in are actually part of this cover over the wireway. So if you take this off and you see 2 screws missing, don't freak out. It's because you already took them out. I'm sorry for the terrible lighting today. I think this is pretty standard to all of the K24 motors. I think they all have the same valve cover, wireway cover, all that stuff. The wires that run inside this are your coil pack wires and your VTEC wire, your crank sensor wire, oil pressure sensor, all that kind of stuff. Now this should cure the problem. I don't see any. Sometimes you'll see cracks in the side of these when they go bad. I don't see any on this one. All right, let's head to work for another fun 12-hour day. All right, kids, that seems to have fixed things. The check engine light is no longer blinking. My motor is idling smooth and accelerating smooth. The miss is no longer there. So that solved the problem. You guys can see I went out half asleep at 3 o'clock in the morning, and with a flashlight and explaining it to you as I went, changed this in about, what, 5 minutes? So this is an easy job to do. It cost me about $51 for the part from AutoZone. It was delivered to my house the next day. That's the reason I buy parts from AutoZone. It's not because they're the greatest parts in the world or the greatest company to work with. It's because they will deliver them to my house the next day for free. And if there's an issue with the part, I can take it right back to the store and exchange it or get my money back or whatever. So I want you to add this to your list of things you can definitely do. If you have a blinking check engine light, you have a miss, and it's about a 90% chance that it's probably the coil pack that's going out. It's probably not the spark plugs. Don't waste your money there. Japanese engines rarely have a spark plug go out. You've really got to have a bad mixture in your combustion chamber to have a spark plug go out these days. Most of the time it's going to be this coil pack. It's very easy to change. It requires a 10mm socket and you're done. If you're the kind of person that's contemplating working on your own car, but you're nervous about things like maybe even changing a flat tire, this is easier than changing a flat tire. It's 4 bolts, pull it out, put the new one in, you're done. Don't pay somebody to do this for you. Save that money. Save the money that you would have spent on this for a bigger issue like a transmission problem or having your valves adjusted or something like that. Do these small, simple jobs yourself. You can do it. It's easy. I promise you, you can do this. Until next week, this is Clint Searcy saying like and subscribe.